Be talking about graphs of quadratics, and our essential question for today is, how do I make a table and a graph for a quadratic equation? And the first thing I want to take a look is just remember, what does a quadratic equation look like? Well, quadratic equations, remember, are degree 2 polynomials. So we want to make sure that in our equation, our largest exponent is x squared. And so all these are quadratic equations. Also, don't forget that f of x is a fancy way of writing y equals, and we'll review more of that as we move forward. Okay, so remember, that's what an quadratic equation looks like. Now, yesterday, when you did the Desmos activity, you actually saw some graphs of quadratics. All right, when those people were shooting the basketball, the path that the ball took almost looked like a U shape. And quadratics always have that shape. Now, sometimes it opens up where the arrows are pointing down. Sometimes they're opening up. Those are what graphs of a quadratic are going to look like. And we call these graphs parabolas. So anytime we have an equation where our largest exponent is x squared, we should have a parabola as our graph. All right, now let's learn how to make those tables and graphs. So let's say I want to make a table and a graph for y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 2. And we want to plot quite a few points so that we can see that U shape happening. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in these x values one at a time. So my first y value, I'm going to plug in -3 in for all of my x's. So I have 2 times -3 squared plus 4 times -3 minus 2. Then we have to remember we always have to use the correct order of operations. So we're going to square first. -3 times -3 is +9. So -3 squared is 9. Okay, the next step I should do all my multiplying. So 2 times 9 is 18. Plus 4 times -3 is -12. Minus 2. And then I'm going to combine like terms from left to right. So 18 plus -12 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. So that means that at -3, the y value is 4. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and on your scratch paper, find the y values for all these x's up here in the table. And then when you're ready, press play again and take a look and check your answers. All right, now in case you're not sure, I'm going to do at least one more with you that you can check your answers. Let's see what happens when we plug in -2. So y equals 2 times -2 squared plus 4 times -2 minus 2. We square first. So -2 times -2 is +4. 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times -2 is -8. So I can either write it as plus -8 or -8. Either way is okay. Minus 2. Then I'm going to work left to right. So 8 minus 8 is 0. 0 minus 2 is -2. So I'm going to go back up here to the top, and I'm going to get a y value of -2. When you put -1 into your equation, you get -4. When you put 0 in the equation, you should have gotten -2. When you put 1 in the equation, you should have gotten +4. 2 in the equation, you should have gotten 14. And if you put 3 in the equation, you should have gotten 24. All right, so check those answers and make sure that those are correct. Now, when it comes to plotting, we're going to plot as many points as we can. And then we'll sketch that U shape. Now, one of the things I want you to pay attention to is that if you're using Cami to do your assignments, what you're going to want to make sure you do is zoom in really far, because it's a lot easier to plot points in Cami if you're really zoomed into the graph. Okay. So we know that our first order pair, we had -3. I'm going to go 3 to the left and then up 4. Okay, that's this point right here. And then we got -2. And then our y value for -2 was -2. Okay. Plot -2, -2. And then we had -1, -4, 0, -2, 1, 4. And then the numbers got really, really big. But I can connect these and I can see that U shape happening. And so there's my first graph. Okay, we're going to take a look at one more, but we're going to use technology to help us be a little bit more efficient. So zoom out a little bit here. So let's say I had the equation y equals -x squared plus 2x minus 7. Okay, and I have a slightly different table just because I want to try to plot the key points on my graph. So I'm going to do this first one on paper, and then we'll show you how that would look using a calculator. So that negative sign right here is like having a -1. So I'm going to do negative parenthesis, -1 squared plus 2 times -1 plus 7. Now remember, I have to square first. So this negative sign is going to stay out front. -1 times -1 is +1. 2 times -1 is -2. So I'm going to get -1 plus -2 is -3. -3 plus 7 is +4. Okay. Now, to make this a little easier, you can use whatever calculator you'd like. But in my folder, there's that Desmos scientific calculator, and it looks kind of like this. And I'm going to show you, you can type it in just the way you wrote it on your paper, as long as you use the parenthesis in the right spot. So if I wanted to do negative parenthesis -1 and then to the power of squared. Okay. And then we had, as I forget what my equation looked like, sorry about that, plus 2 times -1. And the last part of my equation was plus 7. And notice over here is where you see the answer is 4. It's the same answer that I got. All right, why don't you take a few minutes, pause the video, and see if you can find the other y values using Desmos, and then go ahead and come back, and we'll finish up our video together. All right, now that if you've tried this, if you plug in 0 in for x, you should have gotten 7. If you put 1 in for x, you would have gotten 8. If you plugged 2 in for x, you would have gotten 7. 3 in for x, you would have gotten 4. 4 in for x, you would have gotten -1. Almost did that arithmetic wrong in my head. And the last one, if you put 5 in for x, you'd have -8. All right. Again, as I'm plotting these, it helps if you really zoom in. I'm going to try to keep this all on one page for us. But we had -1, 4. This point right here. 0, 7. That's this point right here. 1, 8. 2, 7. 3, 4. 4, -1. And I might go down just a little bit here and do 5, -8. Okay. So if I connect them, and I'm going to work backwards because I have more points, you can kind of see it's going to have that U-like shape there. All right, go ahead and try the video quiz to see if you understood what we talked about today. And please don't hesitate to send me an email if you're not sure. Thanks. Have a great day.